به أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين. يقول الله عز وجل: أتأتون الذكران من العالمين وتذرون ما خلق لكم ربكم من أزواجكم بل أنتم قوم عادون. We are going through the 70 major sins in Islam. We've done point number 16 last week from Imam Dhahabi's book. Inshallah, we continue with point number 17. Point number 17 is in regards to al-liwat in Arabic, homosexuality in English. So this is something which is clearly prohibited in our Sharia in many verses, not just one, two, couple of verses, but many, many verses of the Quran. So it is absolute and it's explicit in its prohibition, that there is no standing in Sharia for homosexuality in any way or form. There is a group of people that is called khuntha mushkil. Whether their gender is a male or a female is disputed. So there the scholars go into differences of opinions and what makes them a male or what makes them a female, or where they should stand in prayer if they're going to congregation, for example. All those things were considered when it came to fiqh. Okay, we're not going to go delve into this. The point here is the Quran mentions أَتَأْتُونَ الذُّكْرَانَ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. This is regarding the people of Lut alayhi salam. They used to go to the male folk of their nation, and they used to leave their wives. They used to leave their wives. And this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deems as بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ عَادُونَ. You are surely but a transgressing nation. You have transgressed the limits, transgressed the hudud of Allah. تِلْكَ حُدُودُ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ يَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ. The one who transgresses, the one who goes over the limit. Okay? So you are given that which is halal, use that which is halal. Go through the halal avenues, don't use the haram avenues. Of course, not just the drawbacks of what it is, the deed itself is disgusting. It is a zulm. The definition of oppression in Arabic is to put something in some which is where it doesn't belong. This is exactly what it is. So liwat is actual zulm, not just upon the person, not just upon the doer and the person who's doing it, but upon the whole nation as a whole. Why? Because if these people continue their actions, then the whole of humanity will be no more. Okay? That's the clear, logical understanding for them to understand anyway. For us, it's very clear. Alhamdulillah, we are Muslims. We submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's laws. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made something explicit and clear in Quran or hadith of sahih and mutawatir, then of course we accept it with our hearts. Qadhful muhsanat. The next one, number 18, to slander a chaste woman. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so this is slander. Slander refers to you accusing another woman who hasn't slept with anyone, who hasn't had an haram affair with anyone, but you accuse her of zina. It can happen the other way around as well, of course. The woman accusing a man of zina, it's exactly the same in Sharia. Just like a zina, the punishment of zina for the man and for the woman is exactly the same. Likewise, the punishment of slander is exactly the same, whether it's man or woman. 80 lashes in Quran. إن الذين يرمون المحصنات الغافلات المؤمنات لعنوا في الدنيا والآخرة ولهم عذاب عظيم. Here, verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed those who slander chaste women that are unmindful, that are unaware of these things, of these actions, who are sincere Muslims, who are sincere believing women, lu'inu, these people will be cursed. They will be far away from the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Lu'inu fi dunya wal akhirah. They are cursed in this dunya and they are cursed in akhirah as well. Walahum adhabun alim, and for them is severe punishment. Severe punishment. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم المسلم من سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده. This is one of the beginning ahadiths, a couple of hadiths that come in Bukhari. This is one of them. Okay, that the dignity of a Muslim, one of the main purposes of the Sharia is to protect the dignity and honor of every single Muslim. Okay, And this refers to man salim al-muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi, the one who other Muslims are free from your tongue and other Muslims are free from your actions. Okay? So this is extremely important, that you mustn't accuse someone that which they didn't do. Like we done the other day, ala wa shahadat az-zur, that beware of false testimony. Beware of false testimony. Next we go into number 19, al-ghululu min al-ghanimati wa min bayt al-mali wa zakah. This is extremely important. Why? In this day and age, unfortunately, wealth, zakat wealth and sadaqah wealth is going to places through organizations like Muslim Aid, like these big, huge organizations. We don't know if this is actually being delivered to the actual people that deserve this wealth. This is why zakat wealth, ideally you should buy yourself, find out yourself, and go and give it to a poor person. Ideally, this is the ideal situation. If you can't, then you need to find something which has 100% zakat policy. Okay, that every single penny of that zakat goes in the hands of the poor. Because zakat is not something that you can make madrasa with. Zakat is not something which you can make public toilets with. Zakat is not something which you can make public roads with. All those things are haram. It must go to a recipient of zakat, someone who is able to take this money, someone who is basically, according to Sharia, he's poor. He's poor. Al-ghululu min al-ghanima, the one who, in a haram way, he takes wealth of the booty. So when Muslims go into battle, he's taken some booty, some wealth of the other party, of the enemy's party, in a way that he hid this item and he didn't disclose it to the imam. So before everything, basically what used to happen is after the battle, all the booty used to be collected together and the imam himself, he distributes it afterwards to the warriors. Okay, to the horsemen, they get the double reward, they get double. To the one who's on foot, he gets half the share and stuff like that. Those discussions are in fiqh. Anyway, here, وَمَا كَانَ لِنَبِيٍّ أَن يَغُلْ, there is no prophet that, it is not suitable for any prophet that he take from the booty of war. Okay, meaning in a haram way. وَمَنْ يَغْلُلْ يَأْتِ بِمَا غَلَّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, and the one who takes from the booty in a haram way, then he will come with this on the day of judgment. ثُمَّ تُوَفَّى كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ, and every single soul shall taste death and will be taken to account for what he done with his own hands. Okay. الظُّلْمُ بِأَخْذِ أَمْوَالِ الْبَاطِلِ. We go into number 20. Here, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يأخذ أحدا شبرا من الأرض بغير حقه إلا طوق الله إلى 7 أراضين يوم القيامة. Here, this is very severe. To take the wealth of another person that you do not deserve. It's not yours to take. So for example, in Bangladesh here, the hadith is very clear when it comes to taking the wealth of another person's land. So for example, you had 1 acre of land. Now you extended your fences to 1 acre and a bit more. Okay? So now here, this bit more, this extra that you've taken, that is not your mal, that is not your wealth, that is not your haqq. This is what will lead you into Jahannam. This is one of the severe major sins in Islam, and a person will be, look how he will be punished in Jahannam. La ya'khudhu shibran, even a handspan, the extent of a handspan, if a person takes more of land than he deserves. This hadith is of course more specific, but the idea, the point here is taking anything by oppression, taking anything, something which is not yours, you take it as yours. Okay, so here it refers to the land. So even if a handspan of land is taken into your own possession when it's not yours, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tawaqa refers to, he will encircle that piece of land around you, around your throat and around your body, and you will be smashed inside the ground to the extent of 7 earths down until the day of judgment. This person will be continuing to get this type of punishment. So even to take a handspan of land or house or anything which doesn't belong to you, this punishment is extremely, extremely severe. Then we go on to number 21, stealing. This is very similar, but here it's Of course, the other one was more general. This is more specific. Stealing in general. So stealing, thieves, burglars, anything which is in that regard will come under this point of number 21. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يزني الزاني حين يزني وهو مؤمن ولا يسرق حين يسرق وهو مؤمن ولا يشرب حين يشربها وهو مؤمن والتوبة معروضة بعد. Here Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم says there is no person that commits zina. Whilst committing the action of zina, a person is not a Muslim. It's like his iman is taken like a cloud. In another hadith, it mentions like a cloud. It goes out of your body. As if just like your ruh, just like your spirit goes out of your body when you are dead, likewise your iman goes out of your body at the time of zina, at the time of stealing, at the time of, what do you call? What's the other one? Yashrab, khamar. This is referring to alcohol. When a person is drinking alcohol, at these three times, iman is as if it's lifted out of a person's body. If a person dies in that state of zina, if a person dies in that state of intoxication, if a person dies in that state of stealing, then Allahu A'lam if he has iman. Allahu A'lam if this person, if any iman remains in him. Because only after the action is done, then tawbah, the doors of tawbah open up back to him. That's what the hadith mentions. Number 22, qat'u tariq. Qat'u tariq refers to highway robbers. Highway robbers, those who stay in the middle of nowhere. For example, in the motorways, they stop you, they egg your front part of your windshield, they stop you. This happens very commonly in South Africa, unfortunately. Okay, in Cape Town, in Johannesburg, this happens very commonly. So anyway, this type of highway robbery, their punishment is extremely severe. Not just severe, extremely severe in this dunya and in akhirah. Okay? And the verse, I'm not going to translate the whole verse, but you can, this verse is in Surah Ma'idah, verse number 33. إِنَّمَا جَزَاءُ الَّذِينَ يُحَارِبُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَيَسْعَوْنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَسَادًا أَن يُقَتَّلُوا أَوْ يُصَلَّبُوا أَوْ تُقَطَّعَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَأَرْجُلُهُم مِّنْ خِلَافٍ أَوْ يُنْفَوْا مِنَ الْأَرْضِ ذَلِكَ لَهُمْ خِزْيٌ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَلَهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. I'm only going to translate the beginning part and the last part of the hadith, of the ayah, the verse of the Quran. Verily, though the reward, the punishment, here, jaza can refer to reward or punishment. Verily, that's why we say jazakallahu khairan. You don't just say jazakallah. Jazakallah can refer to good or bad. May Allah recompense you. Recompense you with what? Good or bad? We don't know what He intended. The person might intend bad for you. Okay, so always say jazakallahu khairan. That's a side point. Innama jaza'u alladhina yuharibun Allah. Verily, the punishment of those who wage war against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger. This is referring to qat'u tariq. This is referring to highway robbery. Anyone in the middle of nowhere stopping you and robbing you. وَيَسْعَوْنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَسَادًا, and they cause corruption on earth. For them is of course, for them they should be either killed, they should either be crucified, either their hands should be cut from either sides, their legs should be cut from either sides, or they should be expelled from the Muslim lands. Okay, these are severe punishments. ذَلِكَ لَهُمْ خِزْيٌ. This is a very disgraceful scene in this dunya for him, and for the akhirah, a great punishment awaits him. Al-Yaminul Ghamus, swearing falsely. This is the next point. 23. False promises. Wallah, wallah, wallah. We hear this all the time. We do, and these boys do it all the time. These girls do it all the time nowadays. Unfortunately, this has become a bad habit. And they lie through their teeth. This, wallahi, that. I so many times I warned this in my sermons, that this is one of the most heinous crimes. Why? Because you're taking the name of Allah. Imam Abu Hanifa, even if he was right and the other person he said, wallahi, I'll do this. Wallahi, you done this. And even if the other person was not right and he was right, he'd still say, don't take the name of Allah lightly. Don't take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lightly when it comes to taking oath. Because wallahi, when you take the name of Allah, it becomes binding. It's like a promise that you do to Allah. Okay? So, what's the punishment of a person who takes these false oaths? قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاثة لا يكلمهم الله عز وجل. 3 people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never speak to them on the day of judgment. وَلَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ. Nor would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at them with mercy on the day of judgment, when we need the mercy the most. When 99% of the mercy is reserved for just the day of judgment because of the severity of it. وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not purify them, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive them. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. For them is a painful punishment. Al-Mannanu bima a'ta. The one who has given something to someone who is in need, and then he reminds him of his. I gave you 1,000 pounds when you needed it the most. I gave you this, I gave you that, I gave you the car, I bought you this, I got you married, you understand? This person who boasts with doing something for others, this is very common in our community. This is extremely common, especially in our elders, unfortunately. This should not be done. This should not be done. Al-Mannan, to boast about you doing something good, takes away the reward. You've given 1,000 pounds in sadaqah, alhamdulillah. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, He's made you a wasila for good for others. Okay? Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you had the tawfiq to give 1,000. Other people don't have the tawfiq. Some people don't have the tawfiq. Okay? So thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah gave you the tawfiq to do a good action. Because nowadays, even to do a good action itself is a great blessing. Is a great, great blessing. Al-Mannanu bima a'ta wal musbilu izarahu. The one who his clothes are below his ankles. This is another severe haram. Another severe. Of course, in another hadith, it mentions the one who does it out of pride, okay, and arrogance. Wal munfiqu sil'atahu bil halifil kadhib. And the one who sells his items, when it comes to business, he sells his items with false lies. So, for example, he says he bought this phone for £100. He bought this phone for £100, and he wants to sell it for £50, for example. Okay, but he actually bought it for £80. So where is he lying? He said he bought it for £100. He's supposed to say he bought it for £80. This is how much. Or you could say, if, for example, you're in a business deal, you could say this cost me this much, including all your costs. Okay, including all your costs, it cost me £100. Okay, so I can't sell it to you less than £100. Okay, in that way you're not lying. At least you'll be covering the costs for that item. Okay, but ideally you shouldn't say the product price. Okay, because that's your deal, that's your money that you're making through that product. Okay, but if a person were to do it, he were to take you to a point where he cornered you down and he's like, how much did you spend on this phone? How much did you actually buy this phone for? And you're forced to say it, in that you can't lie. You can't lie. Okay, so this will be a major sin in Islam if you start lying and selling your items and your products when you actually didn't buy it for that price. Al-kadhabu fi ghalibi aqwalihi. A person who lies in general. Al-kadhabu fi ghalibi aqwalihi. Most of the statements that he says, he always lies. So here, wa innal kadhiba yahdi ila al-fujur. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, verily lying continuously leads to immorality. People will not trust you anymore. People will not trust you anymore. And fujur leads you to Jahannam, leads you to the fire of hell. وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَا يَكْذِبُ عَلَى حَتَّى يُكْتَبَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَذَّابًا. A person continues lying and lying and lying and lying to the extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brands him, seals him as a kadhab. Kadhab refers to ismul mubalagha in Arabic, meaning the highest level of a person continuously, like Dajjal is kadhab. We call Dajjal kadhab. Why? He continuously lies. Continuously lies. Just like Israel. The state of Israel continuously. Netanyahu lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. Layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. Day and night, every single hour of the day, they're coming up with lies. Okay? Khair. Next, number 25, qatilu nafsi, a person who commits suicide. Suicide is another great major crime in Islam. We have to understand the severity of this crime. This is something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly says, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Never put yourself into destruction. Never throw yourself into destruction. In anything, even in business, anything. Don't put yourself in a situation where you'll never be able to come out. Look, nowadays, unfortunately, people are in hundreds of thousands of pounds of loans. They don't care. University loans, car loans, house loans, mortgages, loans, every sort of loans, sofa loans, fridge loans nowadays, washing machine loans, everything in the whole house is loaned. What's yours then? Back in the days, if people couldn't afford it, they'll never buy it. That's how we should be. That's how we should be. If you can't buy it, don't have it, buy. That's not yours. You know? Live according to your means. Don't live according to someone else's means because someone else is showing off on social media. This will affect you. This will affect you very severely. And look at it now. Majority of our youngsters, those who are in the 30s, they're in huge loans. Huge loans. They're not able to pay off these loans. It's probably going to take a lifetime to finish off these lifetimes. So they put you in disaster before you even start your life, before you start your marriage, before you have kids. So what's going to happen afterwards? Have tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Work, do whatever you can within your means, and then make tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do what you can. Find the avenues of rizq, and then make tawakkul ala Allah. وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very clearly says, do not kill yourselves. Do not kill yourselves. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. Surely Allah is the most merciful to you. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ عُدْوَانًا وَظُلْمًا فَسَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِ نَارًا. And the one who does it out of enmity and out of dhulm, oppression to himself, for him is nothing but except that he will be entered to the fire of Jahannam. Okay. In another hadith, it mentions that the person that kills himself by stabbing, he'll continue to stab himself until the day of judgment. A person who kills himself by throwing himself off a huge mountain, he will continue to do that until the day of judgment. A person who kills himself by shooting himself, he will continue to shoot himself until the day of judgment. Likewise, whichever manner if a person hanged himself, he'll be hanging himself until the day of judgment. Okay, so this is a very severe crime in this. A person cannot. وَلَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. You cannot. There is no way that you can lose the what you call the hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most merciful. He looks at each and every single individual situation. Everyone is not the same. Okay, a person can get A grades really easily. Another person can't. He can study day and night for months and months and months, for years and years and years, and he can't get those same grades. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make us equal in that way. In the intellectual faculty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make us the same. Okay, inshallah, we'll stop here. Maybe we can go through one more. Al-Qadi Su, a person who is a judge, and he is an evil judge. He doesn't order the rulings according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's laws. So, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْتُمُونَ مَا أَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْبَيِّنَاتِ. Verily, those who hide what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already revealed in the book, in the Quran, in the Sunnah. وَالْهُدَى. Huda refers to Sunnah. Bayyinat here refers to the clear verses. Huda refers to Sunnah. مِن بَعْدِ مَا بَيَّنَّاهُ لِلنَّاسِ. After we have made it clear to people, the punishment of whatever is there. And he doesn't order the hukum of Allah on earth. He is in a position where he should make the practice of the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth, but he refuses to. Even in the position of being a judge, he refuses to implement the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللاعنون. To those Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curses, because you are in a position, you have the right, you have the position, you have the authority, you can implement Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's laws, but you are hiding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's laws, and you are refraining from implementing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's laws on earth. These people, of course, will be cursed, because you've taken a position where you have authority, where you have the power to implement the laws of Allah, but you refuse to. Of course, these people will be cursed, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. And we'll stop here, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Just one point. This also refers to a qadi, a judge which takes rishwa. Ar-rashi wal murtashi. Rasulullah curses the person who takes bribe. This is very common in Bangladesh. Police officers, customs, isn't it? Very commonly, even in Arab world, when you go and do the visas, it's very common. We had to, Allah forgive us, but it's our right. We went and asked our ustad, was this right? He said it's fine because it's your right. You didn't do it out of oppression. You done it because it was your right. You had to do it. Otherwise, they'd stop you. Okay. So, subhanakallahumma wa